The events of the series begin 20 years ago. We see a young boy running and trying to escape from many women chasing him. He hides from them, scared, and one of them gets close to him but luckily doesn't see him and leaves. We learn that in 1970, a strange disease spread worldwide, causing 99% of women to give birth only to girls. Only 1% could give birth to boys, and no one knew the real cause of the disease. This meant that men became rare, and their numbers dwindled globally. Because of this, in the year 2000, the government decided to gather all the men in the world and place them in a safe location to protect them from extinction, providing them with all the comforts. This place is called the farm. When the men grow up and reach marriageable age, a competition is held among the women, and the winner gets the right to marry one of them. We learn that this competition is held every 4 years, with a large number of women participating, and it is broadcasted all over the world. We see an announcement for the young men who are up for marriage, and there are 5 of them. All the girls hope to win the competition and marry them because they are handsome, except for one girl, our heroine, named Gina. She works in a supermarket and is against the idea of the competition. Her younger sister comes in to buy groceries. We notice that she is sick and uses a respirator. Her sister is infatuated with one of the young men in the farm named Olson and follows all his news. She even wants to take a picture with his poster in the store, but Gina refuses and tells her to leave and go home. After work, Gina feels guilty for upsetting her sick sister and decides to make it up to her by bringing her a picture of Olson. When her sister sees it, she is overjoyed and can't believe it, hugging it and taking pictures with it. However, Gina is the only one not impressed with him because she is against the idea of marriage through a competition and wants to have a regular love story, unlike her sister, who is obsessed with him. Her sister keeps applying for the marriage competition on Gina's behalf because she wants her to get married before she dies. Gina gets upset and assures her sister that she won't die and will have the surgery and live. Gina sees Olson and the other young men at the farm filming an advertisement for the competition, and we learn that the competition will start in a week. Afterward, Gina comes home from work and finds her friend waiting for her in front of the house, inviting her to dinner. She is surprised to see her friend has money and they happily go together. Gina learns that her friend is going to work as a broadcaster for the competition, which is why she has money now. Her friend suggests Gina apply for the competition, but Gina says it's impossible because many girls apply and her chances are slim. They watch the announcement of the last contestant accepted into the competition, who is chosen randomly, with millions of girls applying at the same time. Gina's sister is seen applying for her on Gina's behalf, praying with all her heart that Gina gets accepted. Miraculously, Gina's name and picture appear on TV. Gina is shocked by what happened and keeps screaming in disbelief. When she returns home, she is still stunned and doesn't want to go. She becomes famous, with girls staring at her through the window and mocking her, thinking she has no chance of winning the competition. Her sister tries to persuade her to participate, begging her to at least get Olson's autograph, which she dreams of. Gina reluctantly agrees to fulfill her sister's wish. The next day, Gina goes to the competition, but spends most of her time eating and drinking. Everyone is puzzled by her behavior. She hears the other girls discussing their plans and hopes to win and marry the young men they are interested in, but she remains uninterested. Suddenly, 4 girls arrive, impressing everyone because they are rich and famous, and we learn that they are the front runners to win the competition. Then, the host enters with the 5 young men, and the girls are thrilled to see them, each hoping to win and marry one of them. Everyone is excited to start the competition and try to win, except for Gina, who continues eating as she was. Meanwhile, Gina's sister arrives with her friends to watch and cheer for her. Suddenly, she feels unwell and faints, with only 15 minutes left before the competition begins. Gina, feeling a stomachache from eating too much, rushes to the bathroom. She accidentally enters the men's restroom and is surprised by their appearance. Checking her phone, she finds messages from her sister reminding her about Olson's autograph. Feeling disheartened, she expects to be eliminated in the first round and unable to meet him or get his autograph. However, when she exits the restroom, she sees Olson in front of her. Shocked, she can't believe her eyes. Olson is puzzled to see her in the men's restroom, holding her phone. He thinks she is a pervert spying on them and leaves. She follows him, asking for his autograph, but he refuses and warns her to stop what she's doing or he'll report her. Gina is stunned by the misunderstanding. Then Gina receives a call from her neighbor, who informs her that her sister has been taken to the hospital. Shocked by the news, Gina decides to withdraw from the competition to go to her sister. However, the show's producer refuses, concerned about the program's reputation. She tells Gina that winning the competition will not only get her a handsome husband, but also a lot of money as a prize. The government will take care of her and her family, meaning her sister can receive treatment from the best doctors and recover. Gina is surprised by this revelation. Gina is forced to continue the competition and decides to win to save her sister's life. The producer is thrilled and instructs the cameramen to focus on Gina to attract more viewers. The first round of the competition begins, consisting of questions about the 5 young men, and anyone who answers incorrectly will be eliminated. All the girls gather, and the first question is about Max's favorite color. Gina gets nervous because she doesn't know anything about them, but all the other girls know the answer and rush to choose it. Gina runs and picks the same color as them, which turns out to be correct, and all the contestants advance to the next round. Gina is happy and thinks the competition is easy, but the next question is harder, and the girls are confused, each choosing a different answer. Gina remembers a flashback of her sister watching videos of the young men because she is obsessed with them, and Gina figures out the answer. She chooses correctly, and Alson notices her determination and starts to pay attention to her. The girls who answered incorrectly are eliminated, and only a few remain for the final question. This question is difficult, about which of the young men is afraid of fireworks. With only 10 seconds left, the girls rush to choose random answers, but Gina remembers an advertisement and notices that Alson was the only one startled by the fireworks. She decides to choose him and runs to make it in time, but the countdown ends just before she can. Feeling disappointed, Gina is upset that she can't save her sister. However, there's a twist. The program decides to give the eliminated girls another chance through a challenge, and one of them will be allowed to continue. Gina is happy to get a second chance. Each girl enters a room and has to convince one of the young men to choose her to continue. Gina's luck pairs her with Alson, and she feels disheartened because he misunderstood her in the bathroom incident. With a minute left, she apologizes and explains the misunderstanding, begging him to choose her. But he breaks her heart by saying she doesn't belong there and isn't qualified to marry any of the young men. Gina is devastated and starts to cry, preparing to leave. But Alson is surprised to see the necklace she is wearing and recognizes it. He runs to her and decides to choose her, shocking everyone. The producer becomes suspicious and asks her assistant to gather all information about Gina, thinking there must be a secret behind her. Gina is also surprised and can't believe what happened. She asks Alson why he did it, and he tells her that he saved her just as she saved him. It turns out that Alson is the boy we saw escaping 20 years ago, and Gina helped him hide while wearing the same necklace. He never forgot her since then. Afterward, Gina visits her sister in the hospital with her friend and tells her that she advanced to the next round of the competition. Her sister is happy and hopeful that she will get better. She asks Gina to focus on the competition because she is watching her. We then see the rich girl having lunch with her family, and her mother has invited Alson to their house, trying to get them closer. She leaves them to talk to the program's producer, insisting that her daughter must win the competition and marry Alson, or she will stop funding the program. The producer reassures her that everything is going according to plan and that Gina is only there to boost the ratings. They will eliminate her in the end. The next day, the second round of the competition begins. The girls enter the farm where the young men are, and they learn that they will face many challenges. Each challenge is a game, and the winner will be rated by the audience. The top 5 ratings will win a date with the young men. The girls are excited, each hoping to win. The 5 young men appear before them, and the girls are awestruck. The rich girl tries to talk to Alson. He ignores her, making her upset. However, Max notices her and is instantly smitten, watching her closely. Meanwhile, Alson approaches Gina, who is happy to see him and hands him her bag. Alson is surprised by its weight and struggles to carry it, dragging it to her room. Gina is astonished to find the room large and spacious, and she calls her sister to show her. Lifting her spirits, she promises her sister that she will win the competition. The first game is announced, which involves cooking. Each group of 4 girls will be teamed with one of the young men. Gina hopes to be in Olsen's team, but ends up with another young man named Young. She decides to work with him to advance. The game's rules are that the young man will choose a dish, and the girls must race with it to the finish line. Young picks the dish and hands it to his team. Each girl passes it to the next until it reaches Gina. Everyone underestimates her, thinking she's weak and slow, but she surprises them by reaching the finish line on time. Her sister, watching, is overjoyed and cheers her on. However, Young chose the wrong dish, costing them a point, and Gina gets frustrated, warning him to focus or regret it. Scared, Young complies. In the second round, Young struggles to find the correct dish. Olsen notices this and decides to help, not wanting Gina to lose, signaling the right dish to Young. Overjoyed, Young grabs it and passes it to Gina, who is hungry and eager to win. She runs at top speed while the rich girl and her friends try to obstruct her. But Gina is unstoppable and reaches the finish line in time, securing first place. Everyone is impressed by her speed, and her sister continues to cheer her from the hospital. The team that finishes last is eliminated from the competition. The audience vote is next. Everyone expects the rich girl to win the highest votes due to her popularity and large following. However, they are shocked when Gina receives the highest votes, thanks to her sister and all the people in the hospital supporting her. Gina herself can't believe it. She is asked to choose one of the young men for a date, and everyone expects her to choose Young since he was in her team. Surprisingly, Gina chooses Olsen, stunning everyone. The rich girl is furious and her mother calls the producer, threatening her not to let this happen again or face consequences. At night, it's time for the romantic dates. Each young man dresses up in their best attire for the girl who chose them. Gina arrives in a beautiful dress, and Olsen is taken aback by her beauty, feeling attracted to her. They sit at a table to dine together, and Gina remembers her sister's advice to eat delicately and be charming to win the young man's heart. Olsen finds her behavior strange and is annoyed because he liked her for her natural self. He starts treating her coldly again, which frustrates Gina, but she controls her temper to stay in the competition. When the date ends, each young man rates the girl they went out with. Most of the ratings are high, and Gina expects a high score from Olsen as well. However, she is shocked when he gives her a 5 out of 10, surprising everyone, because he was the one who saved her in the first round. Everyone thought he liked her. Gina gets angry and goes to talk to him, asking why he did that even though she was nice to him. He tells her that she wasn't being herself and felt like a robot, only caring about winning the competition. Gina gets upset by his words and tells him he can't understand her because he's rich and handsome and the government takes care of him because he's a guy. She says she regrets choosing him and walks away. Sun is moved by her words and feels sorry for her. At night, he goes to apologize, but he's surprised to see her talking to Young. Feeling jealous, he leaves them and goes back to his room. He keeps a necklace similar to hers, takes it out, and looks at it, remembering a flashback from 20 years ago. He and his father were escaping from the farm while guards chased them. Unfortunately, his father was injected with a sedative and fell to the ground, getting caught. He asked his son to run. Sun had to escape alone, with the guards still chasing him. Back to the present, Sun wakes up scared from the nightmare. He has breakfast with his friends, and Young comes to talk to him, asking if he likes Gina because he also likes her and wants to know his position. Sun gets nervous but tells him he's not interested in her and lets him do what he wants. As he's walking, he sees Gina trying to reach food from a high place but can't because she's short. He goes to help her, and she thanks him, but he takes the food for himself and puts it back, telling her he's not working for her, and leaves. Sun then sees the rich girl talking to her mother on the phone, with her mother pressuring her to win the competition and marry Sun. The girl starts crying because her mother doesn't care about her happiness. All she wants is to win to keep the family's reputation. When she goes to have breakfast with Max, he wants to go out with her like they did the day before, but she rejects him and says she's going out with Sun. She leaves him and goes to have breakfast with her friends, blaming one of them for not getting first place in the previous game and kicking her out of the team. The second game begins, which is a car race. Each group of girls will ride with one of the boys. Everyone is excited and happy to get closer to the boys, But Gina feels disappointed to find herself in a team with Sun and the rich girl. She feels disheartened, but has to continue for her sister. When the car arrives, the rich girl warns her not to get close to Sun and makes her sit in the back while she sits next to him. Sun drives the car with the rich girl navigating using the map. However, she keeps making mistakes, leading them the wrong way repeatedly. Frustrated, they force her to switch places with Gina, who is much better at reading maps because she used to work as a delivery driver. Gina successfully directs them on the right path until they reach a rest stop. At the rest stop, they find Max's team there as well. There is a puzzle, and the team that solves it first gets to take the map and continue. The puzzle is difficult, and Sun struggles to solve it. The rich girl steps in to solve it, wanting to show off to Max. Both teams work on the puzzle and manage to solve it simultaneously, allowing them to continue on their journey with the map. Meanwhile, we see Gina's friend secretly filming an important man on the farm, focusing on his hands and fingers, hinting that she is planning something. Back with the main team, they successfully reach the next rest stop and find another, even more difficult puzzle. They learn that there is a key hidden in the area, and they need to find it to continue. Sun suggests they split into two groups to search more efficiently. He takes Gina with him, causing the rich girl to feel jealous as she wanted to get closer to Sun. She reluctantly takes her friend and searches for the key. Sun keeps an eye on Gina from a distance, clearly showing his growing affection for her, though she doesn't notice. Suddenly, she catches him staring and feels puzzled. He awkwardly compliments her broken necklace, apologizes for his previous behavior, and shares that his life hasn't been easy either, and he has struggled a lot. Gina feels moved and apologizes for accidentally barging in on him in the bathroom. Just then, Sun moves closer, making Gina think he wants to hug her. She closes her eyes in anticipation, but he was actually reaching for the key he spotted behind her. The key is inside a box, and the entire team must work together to retrieve it. Young's team arrives and begins competing with them. The challenge is tough because the key is attached to a teddy bear, requiring teamwork and coordination to retrieve it. Sun encourages his team to trust each other. They decide to follow his advice, and after several attempts, successfully retrieve the key before the other team. They celebrate their victory, forgetting their previous conflicts. They get back into the car and continue their journey, with Gina's relationship with the rich girl starting to improve. But suddenly the car tire bursts. Sun gets out to change it, but he doesn't know how. Max's team passes by them and overtakes them. Gina has to get out and change the tire herself. Despite her cute appearance, she's no pushover, having worked many different jobs before. She successfully fixes the tire, and they continue on their way, driving at top speed until they reach the place with the finish line. When they arrive, Max's team is already there. Sun and Max race each other to the finish line. Gina cheers for Sun to run as fast as he can, so he takes off his shirt to run faster and manages to catch up. They both reach the finish line at the same time and press the button, but Sun wins by a split second. The team celebrates their victory, having taken first place in the game. Later, Sun sits with Max and tells him he knows Max let him win on purpose. He asks why, and Max admits he likes the rich girl and wants her to win to make her happy, even if she doesn't love him. Sun is moved by his confession and says he also wants Gina to win because she has suffered a lot in her life and wants her to be able to take care of her sister. Next, it's time for the audience vote, but this time the producer changes the rules, letting the judges decide. Naturally, they all choose the rich girl because they're afraid of her mother. They ask her to choose one of the boys to go out with on a date. She seizes the opportunity and picks Sun, who is upset but has to agree because those are the contest rules. When it's Gina's turn, she has no choice but to pick Young. He is happy because he likes her and promises to give her a high rating. That night, they go out on a romantic date. Young treats her like a princess, pulling out her chair for her to sit. Gina is delighted by his attention, and they eat together. She finishes all her food, and Young gives her his, making her happy and grateful. They then participate in a dance competition, spending a lovely time together and growing closer. However, Gina's necklace falls to the ground. Young sees it, picks it up, and gives it back to her, mentioning he has a similar necklace. Gina is surprised and remembers the boy she saved when she was little, to whom she gave half of her necklace, and suspects that Young might be that boy. At the end of the date, the boys start rating the girls they went out with. This time, Young gives Gina the highest rating. Later that night, while everyone is asleep, Gina's friend uses the photo she took to create a fingerprint. She sneaks into a restricted area on the farm and uses the fingerprint to enter a secret room. Inside, she finds a device and starts searching through the files until she finds a file with a name and a date from 20 years ago. She is surprised when she sees him and tells her mother that she has finally found him. She remembers her mother, and we learn that she gave birth to a boy 20 years ago, but the government took him away because he was considered a rare case. They made her believe she was pregnant with a girl who died at birth. They put her in a mental institution and kept giving her medication to make her forget what happened. However, she was smarter than them and would throw the pills away instead of taking them. She found out her son was in the farm, so she asked her daughter to work in the competition and search for him. We return to the present, and the protagonist's friend discovers that her brother is Young. She is shocked by what she learned, but hears someone nearby and has to close the device and escape. She accidentally drops her ID card without noticing. One of the guards sees her and asks what she is doing there, but Young arrives and saves her by saying she was helping him with something. She thanks him for what he did and wants to tell him the truth, but is afraid he won't believe her. She asks him to let her take his picture. Afterward, Gina remembers Young's chain and that he has a piece like hers. She goes to Sun to confirm it and asks him about it. She is shocked to see he is wearing it, and it is the other half of her chain. He asks her if she remembers what happened 20 years ago. Gina is overjoyed and hugs him, unable to believe it. We see a flashback revealing that when she saved him as a child, she thought he was a girl because of his long hair. She took him home, cared for him, fed him, played with him, and gave him half of her chain to remember her. The next day, when she returned, she was shocked to find her sister, and from then on, she didn't know anything about him. We return to the present, and Sun tells her that the government found him and returned him to the farm, where he has lived ever since without leaving. Gina is happy to see him again after all these years, and they plan to go out together. He agrees. Later, the producer finds out that Gina's friend entered the restricted area because she found her ID card. She asks her what she was doing there. She tries to lie, but the producer doesn't believe her and threatens to report and fire her. She is forced to tell her the truth that he is her brother and that they kidnapped him from their mother and put her in a mental institution. Her only dream is to see him again. The producer is moved by her story because she is also pregnant and understands the feeling of losing a child. She decides to cover for her but warns her not to enter the restricted area again. At night, Gina waits for Sun in the place they agreed on. He arrives wearing a wig and disguised as a girl so no one will recognize him. They try to escape the guards and security cameras, running in the dark, afraid of being caught. Suddenly, a white ghost appears in front of them. They are terrified, but it turns out to be one of the boys named Pepper, who is also disguised. He asks them to take him with them because he has never been outside the farm. They reluctantly agree and take him along. They walk through the forest until they reach the road where a car is waiting for them. They get in and drive away at full speed, successfully escaping. Meanwhile, Gina's friend is up late with Young, pretending she wants to film him while talking to him. He believes his mother abandoned him and gave him to the government willingly, so he considers his family dead, and the farm boys are his family. His sister is shocked by his words and stops filming, wanting to tell him the truth, but he says he is happy on the farm and doesn't want to leave. She is saddened and has to keep quiet. Gina arrives in the city, and Pepper leaves them to explore while they have some privacy. He jokingly asks if they are on a real date away from the cameras and the show. Gina gets nervous and says they are just friends out for fun, but it's obvious she is lying and that they are genuinely interested in each other. She tries to break the tension by playing music, but all the songs are about love and relationships. When she tries to change the music, she accidentally touches his hand, and they both feel embarrassed. She then takes him to her favorite restaurant, where the owner is surprised to see her because she is now famous. Gina leaves quickly before people gather around her. She goes to Sun, who is delighted to choose and eat something he likes for the first time. However, girls start to gather around him, suspicious of his disguise. Gina takes him away before they can discover his true identity. She takes him to her home, and when her sister opens the door and sees Sun, she can't believe her eyes and faints from the shock. When she wakes up, she is overjoyed. She tells him that she has admired him for a long time and wanted his autograph. She shares a story about how Gina had a friend who got lost when they were little, and Gina was heartbroken and cried a lot. Sun is moved by her words and realizes she is talking about him. Gina then takes him for a walk in the city. She tells him that if she wins the competition, she will choose him and they can live their lives together. However, he tells her that the competition is a scam and all the results are rigged. He says that even if they love each other, they can never be together. She is shocked and feels disheartened but refuses to give up. She takes him to the place where they first met when they were kids. At the same time, we learn that Pepper, who escaped with them from the farm, has been kidnapped by a stranger and taken to his hideout. The stranger begins to tell him the truth, revealing that the farm is not what he thought. The government kidnaps children from their families and puts their mothers in mental institutions, giving them drugs and sedatives to make them forget. He tells Pepper that he managed to escape from the farm and tried to help the children escape and return to their mothers, but he failed. Pepper is stunned by this revelation because he thought his mother had abandoned him and willingly handed him over to the farm. The stranger tells him that this is all a lie and that no mother would willingly give up her child. He says that the mothers are either imprisoned or in the mental institution. We return to Gina, and Sun tells her that he had resigned himself to his fate. But after meeting her, he decided to choose his own path. He moves closer to her, but suddenly fireworks go off, and Sun gets scared. It turns out he has a phobia of fireworks because he witnessed his father being arrested in front of him, and the guards used fireworks to locate him. He trembles with fear, and Gina is moved by this. She covers his ears and hugs him to comfort him. They decide to return to the farm before dawn. They reunite with Pepper, and Gina doesn't want them to go back. She wants them to keep running, but Sun and Pepper refuse to abandon their friends. They decide to expose the truth and escape together, destroying the farm system. Pepper reveals that the person who kidnapped him told him there is a spy in the farm who will help them. Gina is surprised to learn it is her friend. They go to meet her, and she is happy that they have also learned the truth and are willing to help. She tells them she needs evidence to expose everything. The four of them decide to work together to reveal the truth and reunite the children with their families. Someone overhears them without their knowledge. The third game is about to begin. The contestants are divided into two teams, one of regular people and the other of 3 evil wizards. The good team must identify and capture the wizards before they are eliminated, or they will lose the game and be out of the competition. The game starts, and no one knows anyone else's identity. Gina is on the good team and meets Sun and Pepper. They decide to stick together to find the wizards. Meanwhile, one of the wizards, whose face is hidden, takes advantage of a girl being alone and eliminates her, taking her out of the competition. When they find her body, they hold a meeting to identify the wizard. They try to figure it out, but no one knows who it is. They suspect a girl who was close to the victim and vote her out of the game, only to find out she was innocent. They are more confused than ever, and everyone becomes suspicious of each other. The second round begins, and our heroes decide to stay together to survive. However, one of the wizards throws a smoke bomb at them, separating them. Gina ends up with Young, and while walking, they see a girl's body on the ground. Realizing the wizard has eliminated her, they hold another meeting to try to identify the wizard. One of the boys suspects Gina, claiming he saw her and asking everyone to vote against her, but Sun notices that the boy touches his nose when he lies and exposes him. Everyone votes against him, and it turns out he was a wizard. They successfully identify him, leaving only 2 wizards. They continue playing for a long time and discover the identity of another wizard. Now, only 1 wizard remains, and the game will be over soon. They hold another meeting, suspecting either the rich girl's friend or Max. The rich girl believes her friend and convinces them to vote against Max, who turns out to be innocent and is eliminated from the game. They realize the rich girl's friend is the wizard. The final round begins with the wizard trying to eliminate everyone. The rich girl tries to solve the puzzle to end the game, but the wizard spots her and approaches her. Gina decides to sacrifice herself to buy time for the rich girl to solve the puzzle. She tries to stall the wizard, but the wizard eventually eliminates her, leaving only the rich girl. However, the rich girl manages to solve the puzzle just in time, winning the game for her team. Everyone is surprised and the good team celebrates their victory. Later, the rich girl talks to her friend and asks why she didn't eliminate her to win the game and marry Max. Her friend confesses that she has admired Max for a long time, but values their friendship more. She says she could never choose Max over her best friend, even if it meant giving up her own happiness. They hug, and the rich girl is touched by her friend's loyalty, realizing she still cares for her, despite everything. The girls who lost the game leave the competition, and it's the rich girl's turn to choose a boy to go on a date with. She approaches Max, apologizing for not believing him and accusing him of being a wizard. Max is happy with her words, thinking she will choose him. However, she surprises him by choosing Sun, knowing her friend loves Max and not wanting to hurt her. Gina is happy for her friend, who successfully advanced to the final round, but the producer notices them talking and suspects they are planning something. She warns Gina's friend that if she causes any trouble, she will be disqualified and won't be able to help her sister. Gina's friend is scared by the threat. They gather to plan their next move, but are surprised when Young appears, revealing he overheard their conversation and knows everything. He reassures them that he will help with their plan, even if it means leaving the farm and living outside. Gina's friend is encouraged by his support and feels more confident about confessing that she is his sister and wants to take him to their mother as soon as possible. Sun is initially suspicious of Young, as he is the most dedicated to the farm's rules and lifestyle. But Young reveals that he knows Gina is the girl who saved him when he was young and promises to keep the secret. The rich girl then talks to Max, telling him that her friend likes him and asking him to give her a chance. Max refuses, saying he likes the rich girl and will keep trying to win her heart. She is flustered by his words, pushes him away, and runs off. The next day, the rich girl goes on her date with Sun, but this time she takes him to meet her family. She is unhappy because she doesn't love him, but feels obligated to follow her mother's wishes, believing the rich girl is trying to steal her sister's love interest. She tells her neighbors that she is sure Sun loves her sister. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door and she opens it, only to be shocked by who she sees. Meanwhile, Sun has placed a recording device to catch the rich girl's mother saying something incriminating. Sun tells the rich girl's mother that he loves her daughter and wants to marry her, but is worried she might fail in the competition. The mother reassures him that her company funds the show and guarantees her daughter will win, even if she fails the challenge. Gina, her friend, and the rest of the team record everything the mother says. They are thrilled to have evidence to expose her. They prepare to publish the evidence, but suddenly lose internet and phone connections. Guards burst in and arrest them. When Sun returns to the farm, he finds the producer waiting for him. She takes the recording, revealing she had been spying on Gina's friend and knew their plan. She arrests Gina's friend and threatens the group to follow her rules and continue the competition, or they will regret it. Feeling defeated, they reluctantly agree to save Gina's friend. The producer then visits the children at the farm. One child notices her sadness and gives her candy to cheer her up. Touched by his kindness, she feels guilty about her actions, knowing that the children are forcibly taken from their mothers and that this could happen to her as she is pregnant. Gina is disheartened by the failure of their plan, but Sun encourages her not to lose hope, revealing he has an alternative plan. He found a flash drive with evidence at the rich girl's house and secretly gave it to Gina's friend without the producer noticing. Meanwhile, Gina's friend successfully fights off the guards, disguises herself in their uniform, and escapes to the restricted area. There she discovers the mothers whose children were taken. Shocked by what she sees, she starts filming everything to expose them. However, the guards spot her, sound the alarm, and chase her until they corner her on a bridge. She tries to escape but gets shot and falls into the water. The rich girl's mother summons Gina to her house and shows her a video of her sister in one of their hospitals. She tells Gina that if she obeys, her sister will be treated and will get better, but if she refuses, she will never see her again. Frightened for her sister, Gina returns to the farm and tells Sun what happened, admitting she can't contact her friend and apologizing for not being able to continue the plan or help him escape. Sun reassures her that her and her sister's safety is the most important thing. The next day, Gina's sister undergoes surgery, and Gina is anxious about the outcome. When the doctor comes out, She reassures Gina that the operation was successful. Gina stays by her sister's side until she wakes up. The first thing her sister says is that she wants Gina to win the competition and take revenge on Shen. Gina is moved by her sister's words and cries, apologizing that she won't be able to fulfill her dream because she has to listen to Yang. Gina returns to the competition, staying close to Yang out of fear that the rich girl's mother might do something to her sister. She feels sad and isn't in the mood to smile. Yang tells her he knows she loves Sun and then confesses his feelings to her, saying he has loved her since the first time he saw her. He holds her hand and asks her to give him a chance, promising to take care of her and her sister. Gina is happy with his words and thanks him. They start imagining their life together if they were married, cooking together. The rich girl's mother is pleased, telling the producer that her plan is going as she wants and that the show is getting a lot of views. One night after filming, Gina sees Sun, who asks her to walk with him. She agrees and he tells her he misses her. Touched by his words, she admits she misses him too and wishes they could get back together, but she's afraid for her sister. The rich girl sees them and feels jealous. Suddenly, Max comes up from behind, intending to surprise her, but she thinks he's a thief and reacts by hitting him. Realizing what she's done, she apologizes and gives him a tissue. They talk, and Max tells her he still loves her and wants to be with her, asking her to choose him in the final round. Although moved by his words, she says she must choose Sun because she has to follow her mother's orders to gain her recognition. She breaks down and cries outside Gina's room, knowing her mother is using her but feeling powerless to change it. Max feels sorry for her and hugs her to comfort her. That night, Gina's sister wakes up and hears someone approaching. She is scared but then realizes it's her sister's friend who survived and came to save her. Later, someone knocks on Gina's door. When she opens it, she finds a food box with a phone inside. Surprised, she answers the call from her friend, who apologizes for the delay and informs her that they will execute their plan on the last day of the competition. The final round of the competition arrives, and the audience is excited to see who will win. There's a big celebration with fireworks. The countdown for the last game begins, and the contestants are brought on stage. The host introduces the girls who made it to the final round, starting with the rich girl. The crowd cheers for her because she is popular and well-liked. Then it's Gina's turn. She remembers her sister's words from yesterday, apologizing for always causing her problems and being a burden. She reassures her that she is now safe and tells her not to worry. She asks her to follow her heart this time and choose the one she loves. Back in the present, Gina steps onto the stage with confidence, determined to fulfill her sister's dream and be with the person she loves. Meanwhile, her friend starts to execute the plan and sends a message to Sun, assuring him that everything is going well. The final game begins, and the first round is a challenge among the 5 girls to grab a key and continue their path. Everyone expects the rich girl to win because it's arranged for her to win, but Gina surprises them by jumping high and grabbing the key. She runs to the designated area but finds 5 doors. She chooses one confidently but falls into a trap and ends up in a room full of balls. The rich girl enters next, picks a different door, and overtakes her. Frustrated, Gina decides not to give up, gets up, and continues on her path. At the same time, Sun and his friends begin executing their plan. Gina's friend has asked him to connect her to the main computer of the farm so she can hack it. He pretends to go to the bathroom, but sneaks into the control room to connect the USB drive to the main computer as instructed. The girls reach the next stage, where they have to climb a wall. One of the girls is a climbing athlete and easily ascends, impressing everyone with her skills. However, the game is more challenging than it seems, and boxes start falling on her, causing her to fall. Gina arrives and begins competing with the rich girl to see who can climb first. Both are determined to win, and everyone is impressed by their perseverance. During this time, Sun and his friends succeed in their mission, connecting the USB drive to the main computer. They leave the room and Gina's friend is thrilled, ready to complete the plan and expose everything. However, she is shocked to find the producer standing in front of her. It turns out that Yang was informing on them and keeping the producer updated because he didn't want to leave the farm. Meanwhile, Gina and the rich girl reach the final stage of the game. Everyone is on edge, waiting to see who will win. In the final challenge, The contestants are required to catch a lot of fish and sign the marriage certificate to win the competition and the groom. Both girls race towards the paper, but the path is long and the game starts spraying water on them to slow them down. The rich girl slips and falls while Gina keeps going, determined to reach the end. The crowd cheers her on, chanting her name as she gets closer to winning. However, the rich girl's mother cheats to ensure her daughter wins. She causes the ground beneath Gina to shake, making her fall and return to the starting point. The rich girl takes advantage of this and reaches the end, winning the competition and the first place prize. The crowd feels disappointed because they wanted Gina to win. Then comes the moment everyone has been waiting for. 5 young men stand in front of the 5 girls who made it to the final round. Each girl will choose one to marry, starting with the rich girl, who has the right to choose first because she won the competition. Everyone expects her to choose Sun, and as she approaches him, Gina feels sad because she loves him and wanted to be with him. However, the rich girl surprises everyone. She apologizes to Sun and tells him she decided to follow her heart. She goes to Max and chooses him instead. Max is stunned and can't believe she chose him over Sun. He happily agrees to marry her, hugging her joyfully. Next, it's Gina's turn because she came in second place. She runs to Sun and stands in front of him, but before choosing him, she decides to reveal the truth. She goes to the audience and tells them that the farm is not what they think. She starts showing videos of the mothers whose children were taken by the government and locked up in a psychiatric hospital. The audience is shocked by what they see. The rich girl's mother is stunned and calls the producer to cut the broadcast, but the producer refuses. She decides to correct her mistake and let the truth be known to save her unborn son. After finishing her speech, Gina says she has decided to follow her heart and choose the person she loves. She goes to Sun and asks him to marry her. He happily agrees, but then they hear the sound of fireworks. Gina thinks Sun will be scared and covers his ears to reassure him. However, he surprises her by showing that he is no longer afraid as long as she is with him. He embraces her, not believing that they are finally together. But then the audience starts a riot at the farm after learning the truth. They begin fighting with the guards, and the heroes are forced to escape before the guards can capture them. They head to the garage, where Gina's friend is waiting with a car. They get in, but Young refuses to go with them, ashamed of betraying them. Gina's friend tells him she knows what he did. It turns out the producer had informed her that Young had told her about their plan and warned her about him. Young is remorseful for his actions. Gina's friend decides to confess the truth to him, revealing that she is his sister and asking him to come with her because their mother wants to see him. He is shocked, unable to believe that his mother didn't abandon him as he thought. He cries, saying he can't leave the farm, so they have to leave without him. His sister cries because she did all this for him and wanted him to return with her and see their mother. The producer decides to leave the farm too. She throws her phone in the trash and gets in the car with her sister, escaping the place. The rich girl returns home, but her mother slaps her for disobeying her orders and choosing Max. However, the girl tells her mother she will no longer listen to her and will do what she believes is right by marrying the person she loves. She leaves her mother and walks away. Later, we see news on television about the protests against the farm and that the government is searching for the escaped youths, but can't find them. We see Gina and Sun living together, now married, having given up fame to live happily together. Gina's sister, who had the operation, is living with them, and the three have become one family. 4 years later, they have a beautiful son. They decide to raise him safely, far from the farm, and that's how the series ends. That's all for today's video. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and check out our other selection of recaps. Take care.